it can be so hard not to be so obsessed with, are they going to be a good dad?
This is Salt's YouTube channel. I'm Lauren Windle and I'm joined by Indy. Hello. So I'm really excited to discuss this with you. And like just before we started filming, I was saying to you, I have never heard somebody speak from a personal experience about what we're speaking about, which is wild because it's not some sort of uncommon thing, you know, like there are plenty of people who are in the same position you are, particularly when it comes to dating. So tell everybody what we're talking about.
So we're talking about dating as a single Christian parent.
Yes. And like you think about it, and there are so many people for an absolute range of reasons who are in a position where they're parenting, but also dating. And there are so many, like, well, I can imagine different challenges around that. Where's the chat? Where's the support? Do you feel like you have been given by your church or, you know, church groups or ministries or the church with a capital C, a lot of support to sort of, you know, parent and, you know, navigate being a single woman?
Not really. So I recently moved down to Cornwall, so the churches are a bit broken down here, but they're rebuilding. So I'm starting to get support now, but I haven't had support for the 3 years I've been down here.
So have you been single for the length of those 3 years?
Yeah.
You and your husband divorced when your son was 1 year old, is that right?
Yeah.
And you've got a gorgeous now 4-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Tell me then, you've had a decent stretch of time being a Christian woman, being in the church, having a child. What have been some unique challenges that you don't think somebody who is single without a family have faced?
Well, I think it's interesting, something that I observed when I used to go out and push the pram, no guy would ever look at me. But then on an occasional day off, when I didn't have the pram and I dressed up a little bit, I noticed guys would look at me. And I was just like, okay, so we're invisible just because we have a pram. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's assumption there. You have a child, you must have a family.
So have you done a lot of dating in the last 3 years?
I did go on a date a while ago through Salt.
Oh, perfect. Very on brand. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I wasn't ready then. I didn't realise until he turned me away and I felt very rejected and very surprised. I was just like, what? Because I thought we had chemistry and everything, but he was a widower. So he'd gone through stuff, I'd gone through stuff, and it was just like, it might not have been the right time for both of us, but
he have children as well from...
No, he didn't. And I must admit that I did lie.
You said you didn't have children.
No, hold on. Did I lie? No, I didn't lie. No, I just didn't put up the detail that I had a child.
Okay.
Because I know you've got the choice to do that. But it felt like, I guess I said I lied because it felt like a form of deception. And it was intentional that I hid it. Because I just, in the same way that guys have passed me by with the pram, I felt like guys have the same approach, and girls, I'm sure they do, when you're like, you know, you see someone on a profile, you have the idea in your head, the checklist, like, oh, and even if it was me before I had Rupert, you know, if I saw a guy up there who had a child, I'm like, oh, do I want to adopt someone's child? No, swipe, you know, and it's just brutal. So
it can be because you all you get is that kind of like just small snippets of information, but not the wider picture of how those bits of information are woven together into your life. So yeah, people can just make sort of snap decisions.
They can. And the thing is now that if I was to see a guy online who or even like in person, who was a single dad, I think that's really hot because I'm like, here's a guy who stuck around. I think it's a real test of strength of the character. You know, you really see what a guy is made out of when they've had a child.
Yeah.
That's the real test.
When you were online dating and you decided, okay, I'm not going to put this on my profile, what was your thought process behind that? Did you just think people were just going to disregard you?
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to be considered for like who I am without the mom label, because everyone is so much more than just the mom label. So, but then I've met other guys who find it very attractive if you're a mom. They're like, oh, that shows you've been through life and you're mature. But it tends to be older guys who appreciate the mom label, and younger guys are like, oh no, definitely not. Oh,
say you got remarried and they wanted children, would you be open to that, or do you feel like it's a conversation, or are you you're done, you've got your little boy and you're very happy?
I would say initially, like, I'm done, but I don't like to be closed-minded, because I appreciate that it's a relationship, it's a conversation, and I may change my mind over time. And I think the reason that I'm very much like I'm done is because my only experience of having a child has been struggling through it alone. I don't say struggling in the sense that it's only been a struggle, but it's been hard. It's a lot harder. I've got my parents around, but it's a lot harder. But I would like to experience a supportive, husband and partner and dad. But we'll see.
When you are dating someone, what do you feel like or speaking to someone, what do you feel like is the right time to say to them that you have got a child?
I think now I've changed my mind. I say straight away.
Put it on your profile.
Yeah. That's been a journey and a process. So I noticed that I felt overlooked. Then I put it down because I just want to be considered for just me. And then I realized, what? If they're not up for taking on a child, then I can just go away. Like, clearly not mature enough to handle it.
I guess the sooner that they know, the less invested that you would be in that sort of connection. Because if they're not interested in having a child around, then better to know straight off the bat, isn't it? If you're liking this conversation, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. What do you feel like are the unique challenges that someone who is a single mum faces when they start dating?
I think it can, I did reflect on this, and it can be so hard not to be so obsessed with, are they going to be a good dad?
Wow, yeah.
And that being your primary focus, because it's like you're like the mother bird protecting your nest, and that's how it feels. But that's something that you can't know straight away, and some guys can be like more experienced than other guys when it comes to children. So,
what would you say to somebody who's unsure whether or not they should date a woman with a child?
I think it's just carry the Christian values of just don't judge, and just take the time to talk. And I have to challenge myself with this, like when it comes to dating, you don't have to stick to your checklist all the time and be so rigid in that. And I think when you've gone through bad relationships, you can be quite even more rigid and fearful of the staying in the safety zone of the tick boxes right through your dating journey, even as you swipe. Not to sound super spiritual, but I find it quite scary, the whole swiping business, how it's like just because of our judgment and ideas we can miss out.
Yeah. Massively, yeah. I don't think that we're geared to assess people in that way. And we always on so many different episodes of this show have spoken about taking your time and considering each person and each profile and picturing them as a fully formed human and not just a 2D picture, and seeing that their life is intricate and that there's lots of different things that contribute to it, and actually just giving people the space to grow on you, as well. And so often we're just so instant, something on there I don't want, got a child or whatever, that we miss something really amazing. So I guess my last question for you would be, if there was a single parent who was watching this, who was thinking that's fine for her, and she will meet someone, but I won't, you know, there's no hope for me. I'm stuck at home all the time with my baby. You know, I've maybe gone through a difficult relationship or something. I'm maybe carrying some hurt and stuff like that. I just don't see a happy ending in my love life. What would you want to say to that person?
Well, I'm trained to be a counsellor, so it's
you're the right person to say something to that person.
When I first moved down to Cornwall, I was so depressed and I felt like I had no future at all. So I've dressed up today, but I just looked exhausted, felt exhausted, just gaunt. I was miserable. My life was broken. And so I've been there, and you know, you can say it's all good and well for her, but actually, like, I've been there, and we're all on a journey, and it's surrounding yourself with good people, filling your world with good things, dwelling on good things, you know, and being a Christian, you know, God's given us a future and a hope, and that's for a promise for each of us. No matter how we feel, that's a truth that we can hold on to.
Yeah. Wow, that's really powerful. Thank you so much. Oh, I've just loved chatting to you. I feel like you've brought so much honesty and vulnerability, and like, thank you for being so open to speaking about something that truly there just isn't that much conversation about, you know? And I think that's really important.
I think it's what I'm learning is to try not to be future focused. It's really difficult when you've gone through trauma to just live in the present. And I think that God calls us to do that, to not worry about tomorrow. And that goes along with dating. You know, it's as a single parent where you're so concerned, the last thing you want is for your child to experience another breakup. But you just have to take each day and trust that God will guide you, and you're not going to get the rest of your life perfect. That's a guarantee, that God's going to be there to help you through. Yeah.
Oh, so well said. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching the Salt YouTube channel. We've got plenty more, so hit like and subscribe.